today, Mark I'm going to be giving you some concrete tips to instantly make your workshops way better, right? So a little bit of background on me, I've helped to organize shell racks, tech together with Miami, and Miami for everyone in Miami, as you guessed it. I've done workshops before on Python, C++, and GitHub, and a couple other things, so I've got a couple bits of experience in help. So, let's get started. First of all, I have a topic, a thing I like to say called 2 T's when it comes to workshops, right? The most important things are your topics and your time, okay? First of all, with your topics, you want to make sure to pick a topic you can teach, right? There's a big difference between knowing a topic and being able to teach a topic, right? So if you're able to explain your topic to a 5-year-old, you can teach it, so that's a good topic. Also, you want to make sure you avoid overly broad topics. So, for example, if you're giving just a C++ workshop, you're probably going to have a bad time because there's a lot of C++ and you can't really fit it all within 1 hour, which is usually the amount of time you have for your workshop. Speaking of time, most workshops are relatively short. You pretty much only have an hour for your workshop, so you want to make sure to teach something that you can teach within an hour to a satisfactory degree, right? And make sure to schedule your workshops correctly. If you're giving an introductory workshop, like Intro to GitHub, you want to make sure to have it at the beginning of your hackathon. If you have it at the very end before submissions, people probably aren't going to go to it, right? Likewise, if you're giving like advanced machine learning neural networks, you might want to do that a little bit further in the hackathon. If you do that right at the beginning, people might get a little bit intimidated, right? So let's get into some general workshop specific tips, right? Best practices. First of all, if possible, have a helper. This is huge, okay? Helpers are enormous for a bunch of reasons. They help you with tech support, they help answer questions that people in your audience might have, which is really important if you're teaching a more technical topic. That way you can continue the flow of your workshop and not be interrupted every 5 seconds with people's questions while they can still learn as well, right? Also, if you have any tech issues, a helper helps a lot with that as well, right? You want to make your workshop interactive if possible. So if it's a tech workshop, have a component that people can work through and follow along with. People learn a lot better that way. Also, zoom in on your PC, please. I see this all the time. Can you read that? The top one? Neither can I. Neither can anybody else. So if you have a shell, if you have an IDE, zoom in on it so people can read, especially if you're on a projector. This is huge, please. And lastly, once you're done, make sure to share your slides so people can refer back to the things they learned. That's huge because they can keep learning throughout the hackathon as opposed to just once during your hour workshop, right? Some general presenting best practices I'll get into here. I have given an entire separate lightning talk on this, but I'll keep it short this time. Keep the text in your slides to a minimum. You want to avoid using jargon and filler. You know, you might really want to talk about time-domain, convolutional neural networks, and gradient descent, but if you're giving a workshop, it might not be the best time, right? And also, lastly, your slides are cue cards, not a script. Please don't read directly off your slides and have a bunch of text in your slides. It's not how you present effectively, right? So, a little bit more best practices. You generally want to keep things brief and to the point because people remember things better when they're a little bit more brief and to the point, right? It's possible to teach too much. So, y'all are very smart people, you're overflowing with knowledge, your brains are too big for your necks, right? But if you try to teach all that knowledge all at once, you'll overwhelm the students, and then they won't learn anything. So you gotta keep it digestible so that it's a little more memorable, right? At the end of the day, people will only remember a few key takeaways from your workshop, so make them count, right? And lastly, have fun with it, right? People learn better in an engaging environment, and your